What's going on, guys? CryptoClover, giving you guys a little bit of a market update here. Wanted to go over a few different trends we've been seeing in the market. Volumes have been way down, so there's not any coins that are trading over $1 billion in a 24-hour period. What's going on, Joey Rocket, Steve Young? I mean, that's kind of the big trend that I'm seeing is that, for what we've been seeing lately, I mean, we typically will see about, at least 4 or 5 different cryptocurrency pairs trading over $1 billion in a 24-hour period in like a single exchange. And right now, the biggest one that I'm seeing is Bitcoin Cash and BitThumb at about 600 million. So the volumes have been way down. I think a lot of that has to do with the trading that we've seen, or people a little bit more of a sell-off in the market as we were kind of coming into the Christmas season and whatnot. So what's going on, Crypto Goose, Crypto Life, Alberto Fuego, Future Money Show, DM Profit. What's going on, guys? I know probably late for some of you guys over there in the US. What's up with that stage 5 clinger? She's still in Dubai, so I gotta find I gotta find some new girls here, I guess, in Singapore. But right now I'm really just focused on kind of building some things here in Singapore. I mean, that's the big thing I'm doing right now is trying to, I'm gonna be setting up some meetup groups. I'm gonna be setting up some different ways for people to get in contact with me. I've been answering a lot of emails, so I've been trying to do that. Like if you guys are interested in connecting with me, I've been pretty good about getting back to everyone on emails. I might not get back to you guys right away, but for the most part, I'm getting back to people at least in a few day time period. And I think that's the one thing that I'm finding is that I'm getting a lot of questions on people now that I've kind of come into a national promoter role. A lot of people are interested in switching over their sponsor as they were looking for somebody they can kind of connect with and work with on more of a person-to-person basis. And a lot of people are not necessarily getting that with their sponsors. I know some of the bigger sponsors, guys that have, thousands and thousands of sponsors or thousands and thousands of referrals, they just don't have the time or we're not getting back to really anyone on their teams. And so that's a little bit unfortunate. It's not really building the community that BitConnect's really looking for. But that's something I'm kind of looking to do is really kind of work with some more people on helping them build their networks. So if you guys want to connect with me, send me an email, cryptoclover@gmail.com. And we'll see what we can do. See if we can work together. I'm going to be doing a few different things here in Singapore, but looking to also do some networking events and some different things either in the States or in a few of the other Asian countries. Be traveling to Dubai on every 2 months or so. I've been getting a few people from the Dubai area been reaching out to me. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, but. Taking a look at, I wanted to show a little bit of the volumes here that I'm seeing with, oops. So Bittrex, #1 exchange, #1 cryptocurrency pair being traded is NXT and Verge. Verge was a pair that is being mentioned quite a bit by a few different people, but I think it's a privacy coin that has some potential. Let's take a look at this a little bit more in depth. So this is one that I actually got into quite a while ago when it was kind of back really in the early days, and you've seen it really just surge here recently, just in the last few days. John McAfee has been pretty public on saying that he's saying that this is going to be worth $15 here pretty soon. Right now it's at about a quarter. The market cap is pushing about $3.5 billion. So it's an interesting coin to get into. The privacy coins, yeah, I think the privacy coins for 2018 is going to be a huge, huge market. So this one is traded pretty widely through a lot of these different exchanges: Binance, Bittrex, Cryptopia, HitBTC. So we're seeing a little bit of wide distribution. Primarily, Binance and Bittrex are the two exchanges we're seeing the most trading, about 90% of the market. So that's an interesting one here. I think this is going to be a good coin to kind of pick up right now. I think at 24 cents, I think it's a good buying price. I think I might wait maybe a day or two and see if we see a little bit of a pullback. You can see that we saw prices come up and then it kind of came back down a little bit before kind of bottoming out and surging again. So I think if we see that trend again, we might be able to get, Verge at about, less than 20 cents a coin. So I think that's going to be a good one to get into. Ripple has been a big one that's been trending lately. It's been, trading at about $1. If we're sorting this by price, there's several of the Korean exchanges are trading at about $1.30. And, for the most part, and most of the other kind of major exchanges, we're seeing it right around $1. So roughly right around $1, and a few of the Asian exchanges are trading about $1.20. So that's an interesting one to see, is I think these two are doing pretty well. But NXT, number one coin, the number one exchange, not the number one pair being traded, but it's showing quite a bit of some activity here recently. Just in the last week, we've seen a pretty substantial rise from about 72 cents or so up to a little over $2. So it's roughly double or triple in price over the last week. Volumes have really started to come up, and part of that is really headed 72% in Bittrex. Poloniex, HitBTC, Bitcoin Indonesia are also trading pretty heavily. But looking at the overall market, the volumes have been down, substantially. So the Bitcoin Cash, Qtum, a few of these other pairs that we're seeing. Tron is another one that's been trending. I have my title as well. So those are some coins that we're starting to see quite a bit of trading. But as you notice in the top 5 exchanges, there's not a single coin over $1 billion in a 24-hour period. So volumes have been down quite a bit. Looking over the overall volume of the market, let's take a look at this. So just in the last 7 days, we've seen volumes really dip and then come back up again and then dip. So the volumes have really come down. I think part of that's just really the Christmas buying season. So yeah, we're seeing, and this is the total market here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. The trend is pretty much consistent with these two. And then the dominance, let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance. So volumes of Bitcoin have really started to come down, roughly at about, right here it's showing 43%, but when you come in to the Bitcoin dominance, we'll take a look at this real quick. That's not what I wanted. Let's go back here again. Sorry, bear with me, guys. So we're coming into the currency exchange. Bitcoin trading at 41%. Tether up substantially at about 8%. You're seeing a lot of people really kind of holding in Tether. And Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple is trending pretty heavily. And then as we kind of move down the list, we see Verge, we see Qtum, we see NXT, we see Tron, rounding out the top 10. So those are the coins that I see with quite a bit of potential here, as they're really starting to pick up in terms of price, in terms of volume, in terms of market distribution. So seeing a lot of interesting trends with those coins. Yeah, but I mean, I was seeing Bitcoin at almost like 12,000. Like when I woke up this morning, I was just checking my phone, and I saw Bitcoin prices about 12,000. Shot back up another 1,000, after I started getting going a little bit. But there's definitely quite a bit of opportunity if you're really kind of monitoring the market on a pretty regular basis, and you see some of these prices really start to fluctuate. You can cash in on some of those. So I mean, if you have enough capital to put behind some of these cryptocurrency pairs and some of the different exchanges, whether or not you have different accounts set up. That's, setting up a dedicated trading computer where you can have exchanges ready to go. Shortcuts is also a really good security measure, so you're not, you're not as vulnerable to security compromising issues such as, key logging type of, hacker type software where they'll come in and basically do key logging to kind of get access to your account. So if you're putting in the shortcuts at the top of your web page, that's going to be a really good strategy. And I'd recommend a lot of these exchanges, if you have accounts with them, set them up so they're really easy to kind of get into. And if you see opportunity, you're watching the market on a pretty good day-to-day basis, there's a lot of opportunity to jump in on some of these coins. So yeah, I'm gonna be spending Christmas in Singapore here. So this will be the first time for me spending Christmas outside of the country. Well, I guess I spent Christmas one time up in Vancouver, BC, up in Canada. I don't know if that really counts, but yeah, I mean, this is I'm here getting ready to really kind of kick some things off here in Singapore, and creating some networks and some some different things here. So looking forward to meeting a lot of different people around here. I've already made some really interesting contacts since I've been kind of getting out and looking around, looking at different office spaces, looking at some different places maybe to get an apartment. Everything's kind of sometimes up and down, like because of the holiday season, it seems like everything's kind of shut down. We have Christmas here on Monday, so it's a lot of everything's really shut down until Tuesday. And I think in terms of the cryptocurrency market, you're going to see the same thing. You're going to see kind of volumes and prices really kind of starting to dip, and I think we'll start to see a little bit of a kickback up once we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, and kind of trending up until the new year. And then I think you're really going to see things really take off as we kind of get out of this kind of lull or this dip in the holiday season. Sia coin. Let's take a look at Sia coin. I haven't checked in on that one in a while. The guys I'm working with in California, he's got a lot of Sia coins. Currently at about 2 to 3 cents. It's pumped here recently, and in the last 7 days, it's come up. Take a look. Show you this, guys. So Sia coin markets and Bittrex, Poloniex hit BTC primarily. The volumes primarily in Bittrex and Poloniex in the U.S. Currently at about 2 to 3 cents. But yeah, I mean, it was at just the market cap was under half a trillion dollars, about 500 billion, and we've seen it come up or about double in the past week. So kind of different fluctuations with the volumes and trading, but this is an interesting coin to get into. It's currently, I think if you take a look at all of the different coins, let's see how it's kind of trending in the overall market. It looks like it's at number 33 position, and there's a lot in this kind of like, I would say 25, everything kind of below BitConnect to basically in the top 50. I mean, there's a lot of interesting coins here. I've always been a fan of BitShares. OMG's been a really good one. Populous is a really interesting smart contract with Ethereum. Stratus, I've heard rumors that Stratus may be added to Coinbase. There's been some different rumors that are going on there. Komodo, another privacy coin, doing really well. Steam has been very high on the list in the past. It's at about $3, but this has got a lot of potential. Dogecoin has been around the market for a long time, so it's a little bit more of a conservative bet, I would say. Digibyte is one that has been promoted pretty heavily by a few different people, but McAfee has been one that's really been promoting this. It's up 46% today. Pivx is one that's been, let's take a look at Pivx, because Pivx was one that was really trending on Bittrex. It was almost exclusively being traded on Bittrex. And yeah, it's still looking like that's going to be the case. 96% of the volume is in Bittrex. There's a little bit of market distribution, but that was one that was, that had me a little bit wary when I was first looking into this, you know, before. But you can see that in the last 7 days, it's also come up, you know, quite a bit. So as we've seen the markets tanking in a lot of other technologies, you're seeing some of these other these cryptocurrency pairs doing pretty good. Verge, another one that's been doing real well. Now, Monocoin has been really kind of pumping on a few different occasions. I mean, we saw this trading a lot higher earlier in the week. And now let's take a look at the last week. Now it's really kind of started to dip back down. You saw a huge dip here, looks like on the 22nd. So it's trending pretty high. Taking a look at the last month, you know, you really saw it surge. What was this, on the 6th? Really start to come up. I think someone had mentioned it on my live stream right before it had really come up quite a bit. And it looks like it's been holding fairly steady and then starting to drop off as volumes are kind of tapering here. So I'm kind of anticipating a little bit more of a downward trend until, you know, we see a little bit of a surge in volumes. You see these spikes in volumes on different days of the week. So it would be one to kind of watch out for. If you see the volumes really start to really take off, and in Bittrex primarily, that would be one that would be a good one to get into. It looks like it's being traded pretty heavily in Japan, BitBank and Zafe. So coming back into the market here, Decreed, Salt, 10x, Golem, Electronium was another one that has been talked about pretty well, and Binance. These are all some really interesting coins to get into, and I think that as you see some of these really dip in value, those are going to be ones I think they're going to be great coins to pick up at some cheaper prices. So I like all of those. It's a great way to kind of diversify your portfolio and get into a few different technologies and whatnot to kind of, you know, spread out your risk with some of these different platforms and whatnot. BitConnect has been down quite a bit, about 280 in terms of price. It's really been matching, you know, the price that we've seen with Bitcoin. So for BitConnect, really my strategy right now is just been to transfer over pretty much everything from my lending portfolio, holding in BCC coins and waiting until we see those 450 prices again, which you know, I would imagine, you know, we might see in the next week or two. So that's something I kind of wanted to show you guys, because in the last week, you know, we were seeing 450 prices with BitConnect. Just a week ago, you see these huge spikes in prices, 460, 450, kind of trending right up over these lines. And you know, it's kind of progressively come down as we've seen the price of Bitcoin come down. It's also come down in relation to Bitcoin. So the prices have really come down substantially. I would imagine that once we start to see a little bit more of you know, kind of this upward trend with Bitcoin and whatnot, I think we might start to see prices return. There's been a lot of kind of misinformation and some people kind of talking negatively about it, and that's also kind of adding to the price of those coins. But for right now, I think it's a great time to pick up some cheap BCC and hold on to it for about a week or two until prices start to come back and return. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm seeing the market there. There might also be some really interesting opportunities to get into this in some of the other exchanges. If we're just searching by price, you know, we can pick up, you know, some pretty cheap BCC and HITS BTC and Coin Exchange, Livecoin, you know, kind of seeing those 460 price ranges. Nova Exchange, if you kind of get into some of these other cryptocurrency pairs, you know, if you're holding some Dogecoin or some Litecoin, it's you know, there's no volume right now in this, and some of these prices are a little bit misleading because they don't necessarily give you the full scope of what's going on in those markets. You really kind of have to log into the exchanges to see kind of where the market's at and see if there's orders that can be filled. So let me check in with the chat here a little bit. Yeah, I got my music back. Had to get a little bit more organized. I had to fish out my my speaker box out of my bag. DM Profit, what do you disagree with? BCC converting to BTC is a better play. Clover, yeah. I mean, the only thing I'm seeing is we were seeing BCC prices at 0.038, 0.037, and we're seeing it below 0.02 right now. So it's almost been cut in half. And over the course of the year, BitConnect has performed a lot better than Bitcoin. There was a time, I think, for about a month, like in kind of like late November, early December, where it was a much more advantageous to be holding in Bitcoin as we saw the price of BCC really drop. And I don't think the prices are really going to drop that much more. I think that we're starting to see a little bit of the market kind of bottoming out. And so that's I think that's a trend that is not going to continue. I don't think the price of BCC is going to continue to go down. I think that we're going to see the as we start moving into the new year, as we start seeing more and more people getting into BitConnect, as we start seeing a little bit more market distribution, I think that we're going to see prices of BCC come up compared to Bitcoin. I may be wrong, but yeah, BCC is less than 0.02, which in my opinion is a great time to pick it up. But yeah, for the last month or so, it probably hasn't been the best hold. But I mean, for me, that was I've just been traveling so much that I haven't had really an opportunity to trade as much as I'd like. And so monitoring some of these markets, I was anticipating a little bit of a price rise with the coin, just because that was kind of the trend we'd been seeing. But as we saw Bitcoin really start to dip, I think a lot of people started cashing out. So we'll see. And typically on Sundays is another time when you start to see more, a little bit more of a dip in prices, because the development fund for regional promoters and top promoters hits accounts on Sunday. So when you get a lot of these promoters that are holding big stores and value in BCC, and they're having that hit their accounts, you'll see a lot of them will start to cash out, and that can have a pretty substantial effect on price. It doesn't happen all at once, because a lot of these guys are not necessarily checking their accounts all the time. But through Sunday and Monday, you typically see a little bit more of a sell-off as those development funds start to hit the accounts of some of these larger investors in BitConnect and whatnot. So that's something also to keep in mind. Look at BAT and Fun; they will do well. So Fun, I think you're talking about Funfair, and that was one that I was actually talking quite a bit about earlier. I think that's a really interesting coin. I'm interested. I haven't really checked that one out in a while here. So it's currently at 70. So let's take a look here. So Funfair, this is kind of like a gaming coin. It's had some interesting market history. We've seen it really come up here lately. Trading pretty heavily in Binance and Bittrex. Those two exchanges are doing the most volume. But in terms of just last week, let's take a look. I mean, it's kind of been all over the place here. Just the last week, last month, we're seeing prices have really come up as we've seen volumes really kind of starting at about December 18th. So for pretty much the last week or so, volumes have been coming into this coin, and we're seeing prices really reflect that. So it's still fairly low on the market cap, but it's been climbing, and so that's an interesting one to take a look at. Let's take a look at BAT. Let's see if I can find BAT. So here's BAT, down 10% today after a little bit of a spike, looking at the last 7 days. So yeah, it's been trending fairly sideways in the last week, last month. Let's see how this has come. Yeah, it's kind of been, it's one we're seeing a little bit more in terms of volumes are starting to kind of come into the coin. You saw it really dip here and December 14th, December 15th. And where is most of that activity? Most of it is in, most of it's in Bittrex and Binance. Huobi and a few others, Liqui, but you're seeing quite a bit of market distribution in this particular coin. Most of everything is kind of holding pretty steadily at that 30-cent price point. So I would think that's going to be a really decent one to get into. I mean, you know, pretty much a lot of these coins in the top 100. I mean, those are, for the most part, you know, pretty safe bets. I mean, when you're looking at the overall market, if there's a few that, you know, I don't know if I'd necessarily say I'd say stay away from them, but you know, I think there's ones that might be a little bit better. I mean, one of my strategies was to, you know, to basically, you know, get into about 50 of the different altcoins, you know, just putting in like, you know, 0.1 Bitcoin, you know, if you can afford that, into all of these different technologies, because they tend to perform a little bit better than Bitcoin over time. And also kind of hitting, you know, maybe a ceiling. So if you put your money in, and you know, you're able to put in a little bit of a you know, a sell wall. So if you were to you know, put in a price of, you know, maybe double the price. So for instance, Batcoin, you know, you buy it at 30 cents, you're going to put in an order in the different exchanges to sell at like 60 cents. So when it doubles in price, and just keeping an eye on some of these, and keeping an eye on the markets, and finding different coins that you know, will spike at different times, and then you know, finding different times to kind of get in when they're at a lower buying price. And so, you know, keeping a list, that would be a kind of an interesting one. And this is something I'd like to do a little bit more with my trading group once I kind of get things a little bit more organized and rolling here. Is I want to provide a little bit more specific support to people that are kind of working with me and working with my trading group on you know, some different trading strategies and things like that. And also, you know, one of the things I'm also kind of looking into is managing other people's funds. So part of the issue and problem behind that is kind of the back office. So I've got a guy that's going to be really good for that. I think is we can set something up, so we can set up some security. So for instance, if you wanted to invest into you know, my company that is going to be trading on your behalf, trying to find ways to make that as secure as possible, and to make it so that people can invest in what we're looking to build here, and having some confidence in that. So that's going to take some time. You know, I don't think that's going to be anything that's really going to happen here anytime soon, but it's something I'm looking to do. And I think the setting that up here in Singapore, or here in a few of the different Asian countries, is going to be much more advantageous than doing it in the U.S. And so I'm trying to set that up so that we can get that rolling in the right way. Tell me more about the trading group. So yeah, I mean, what you're seeing, I think a little bit of a trend is, you know, you know, right now I've kind of been on my live streams giving, you know, some very, you know, generic advice in terms of, you know, where I see the markets going. But one of the things that there's a lot more opportunity with arbitrage and getting into, you know, kind of moving assets around on some of the different exchanges and some different, you know, trading strategies. And in order to do that, I need to bring on some higher level traders and some back office support to be able to support a lot of that activity. And so that's part of the office that I'm going to be looking to set up here in Singapore, is setting up some you know, some management capabilities where, you know, if you wanted to invest, we'd be able to give you guys you know, weekly or monthly reports, and you know, basically trade cryptocurrency on your behalf. So that's one thing I'm really looking to get into. I know I've been working with a few different traders, you know, back in the States, and a few different other areas that are pretty that are really good. And I like working with guys that know the market, that are kind of talking about it on a very high level. So that's something I'm looking to bring to my group. You know, and part of the other thing too is I'm looking to also network more with high net worth people that are really trying to get into trading and really kind of wanting to work with me on a more one-to-one basis. And so I'm trying to set that up in the right way. So you'll see, you know, like right now you see guys like Tai Lopez. It's kind of a funny story. I was on Tai Lopez's his little trading seminar thing that he was doing on Instagram and whatnot earlier today, and I was just kind of looking at you know how they're going about trading. So they have some interesting, you know, guys that are working there, but I mean they're kind of looking at the buy sell walls and some of the different exchanges or whatnot. But they were doing it primarily in like GDAX and like maybe another exchange, but at no point did they even look at the the worldwide market. Like there was like I started watching for about 15 minutes or so as I was eating breakfast this morning. And at no point were they actually doing a market overview. So they were making trading recommendations and things on what you should be doing, but it was all based on one exchange. And at no point did they even look at another exchange or whatnot. And I think that's kind of an older mentality for these guys, is that typically we're looking at like you're looking at this as like a stock exchange. You're looking at one exchange where you're trading in one exchange, and you're trying to base your trading strategy on what you're seeing in that one exchange, without even taking a look at the overall exchange. So I mean, I was probably a little bit overcritical. I mean, I basically said these are crypto noobs, teaching trading strategies, and I was like, you guys aren't even looking at the worldwide market. And he blocked my ass. so I'm not even going to be on his live streams anymore unless I have to like log into another account. But these guys, I mean, I'm sure that they're starting to do some different things. So I like people getting into and into crypto and kind of teaching others about crypto. But some of the guys that they were bringing on board, are claiming that they're experts, and then like these are guys that aren't even looking at the market. Like, how can you trade on these different things without looking at some of the different major exchanges, some of the volumes that we're seeing? At no point that they talk about the Korean markets at all. They didn't really talk about any of these other exchanges that were going on. They're looking at American exchanges and basing it on an American point of view. And so I think that I'm just gonna probably try to stay away from that. It's probably best I got blocked, because I'd be a little bit overcritical on some of those guys, because I don't think they really know what they're talking about. But to each his own. If I'm going to call you a crypto noob, you're going to block me. You're not going to even, whatever. Dragon Chain and Disney Coin. Those are new ones. I have to take a look into that. They thought Potcoin was a joke. Yeah, I mean, well, Potcoin has some market history, and it's actually has a real world use case scenario, because for a lot of the medical marijuana industry, they don't have the ability to transact through the banks because of kind of the legalities behind that. So there's a real world use case scenario for that. They're just looking at it as it has the stigma of being associated with cannabis, and so they don't they're going to stay away from it, and so they're going to stick to some of the larger their altcoins and looking at some of the exchanges and trading based on some of those positions, yet they're not even going to look at the market. So be careful about who you follow on some of these guys about their crypto. Yeah, Singapore is the most dense by population place of millionaires. I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that per capita, like this has the most millionaires of anywhere in the world. So I've been hearing some different advantages to working in Singapore. Banking is really good in Singapore. There's a lot of Chinese investors here. A lot of people that have big money in China that are moving out of the country, moving into Singapore. So they were, yeah, told a girl not to buy. Big advice there. Yeah, I mean they're gonna some of these guys they're gonna talk pretty negatively about things that they just don't understand. And part of that is they're just new to the market. I mean, Ty just got into this like a month or two ago, and now he's like advertising like crazy. Typical Americans. Clover, what are your thoughts on MCO? It was once at 4 to 5K. MCO. Monaco. Let's take a look here. I'll show you guys. Monaco coin up 10% today, about 17 bucks. Bittrex and Binance exchanges trading primarily. Huobi, CoinNest. So you're seeing it trade a little bit in Korea with CoinNest. Most of the volume here is in these two exchanges. So I'm taking a look at the charts. Seeing a lot of activity here recently in the last week. It's really started to come up, but it's really still kind of moving in a sideways market. So some of these coins, like this is one of the things I want to set up in the office is typically you'll see coins that are either trending in a sideways market, they're trending up, or they're trending down. And you can actually hook up trading algorithms, different Forex-based trading bots to kind of cash in on some of those different price points as the market tends to fluctuate. And so it's looking for those price fluctuations, and you're able to key in on some of those and have that trade, while you're not around. And so that's some of the stuff that I'm wanting to look at setting up here is, you see a coin like this, looks like an interesting coin, and you can set it up on some of the different things. So like typically one of the most basic ones that we would set up on one like this was what's referred to as an ARON indicator. So AROON. You guys can look that up on Wikipedia. It was a trading algorithm that was developed for Forex-based stock exchanges in the mid 90s. And has been kind of widely used, and it's taking a lot of different fluctuations in the market. And as you see kind of like the history of the trading activity and some market fluctuations, it's going to base where it thinks that the market's going to go. And for the most part, it does pretty well. You can set up different safety indicators and insurances to make sure that it's not going to trade too out of position. But these are some interesting technologies that we can take advantage of to trade on some of these coins and actually kind of grow your overall Bitcoin. So I think that these are going to be some interesting ones to take a look at. Give me a solid thumbs up if you dump the stage 5 clanger. I don't typically dump girls. They'll tend to fizzle out. So I'd say that's where that's going right now. Not to say that I might not. I'm going to be back in Dubai every 2 months, so it's nice to have a girlfriend. When I'm there. If not, I'll find another girl. Clover, you said you're in Singapore to promote BitConnect. Isn't the Asian BitConnect market the most developed, or is that only in Vietnam? The Asian market in BitConnect is really has been the most developed for the longest time. So it started in Vietnam, started in the Philippines, kind of progressed into India. Was very they had a kind of a different strategy. But they had some major holders in BitConnect that were waiting for the price of BCC to go up, and then started putting out massive loans. And so I've been hanging around several Indians that are BitConnect millionaires, and so there's huge money in India. Korea is currently #1 in terms of the amount of people that are in BitConnect. So there's a large amount of people that are investing in that area. I mean, they're just investing in cryptocurrency in general. So, the largest amount of trading activity in the world is in Korea. You'll never hear a noob like Tai Lopez talking about that because they don't really, understand the market or haven't been watching it for some time. But Korea has been, for the last 6 months, has been doing the most trading volume of anywhere in terms of cryptocurrency. And a lot of that is based on cryptocurrency volatility software and algorithms. So a lot of that software-based trading is very big in Korea, and that's how you're seeing a lot of wealth being created in some of those countries. It's been very supportive in terms of the government, and you know, you're seeing a lot more operations that are moving there. So like for instance, you know, Binance Exchange. I mean, I don't even know if some of these crypto experts even know that the server is located in Korea. You know, the offices and the trading is you know, is more centered in Hong Kong, but a lot of these trading operations are all in Korea, because that's right now the most supportive environment for that. And that might be something I'm be looking to get into, you know, more as I'm kind of developing different relationships with some of these Asian countries. So I've got some great relationships with the Vietnam team. So for those of you guys that don't know, I was previously working with Robert and Helen, the Vietnamese national promoters for Vietnam. I'm going to be looking to work with them even some more. You know, even though I've come out from underneath their team, and I'm going to be underneath BitConnect now as a national promoter, they still have royalties for basically people that are on my team and volume that I'm producing is, you know, they're going to get a royalty on top of that. So they're going to have incentive to help me grow my team, and that's what I'm going to be looking to do is seeing what advantages there are going to be in Vietnam. Clover, want to talk about any other lending platforms other than BCC? I am going to not be able to really be talking about that, unfortunately. So that's going to be something that if I wanted to talk more about that, I'm going to be having to do that in more private chat groups. So, hey Clover, can I come under you? I have 250,000 invested. So the way this has kind of worked is, you know, they don't want us like necessarily like stealing people from other people's teams. And so there's actually been, there was a national promoter in Austria and Germany that essentially got demoted because he was going around and basically trying to sign up other people on other people's teams. And so they don't want you doing that. And so I have to be very careful about how I'm doing that. But you know, if you have 25,000 or 250,000 invested, you're going to be getting those capital releases back, especially if you're putting out 10K loans. And so I think what you'll start to see here in the near future is, you know, you can continue to reinvest with your account and with your sponsor if that's what you choose to do. However, there's going to be other options if you want to come underneath a different sponsor. So right now, the current structure and the way they have it set up is that you would need to set up another account with a different sponsor. So if you wanted to work with me, you wanted to work with my team and some of you know, the trading operations I'm going to be setting up here in the near future, I would recommend setting up another account with me and starting to kind of migrate your accounts over. And you know, as I can get, you know, as I'm seeing like more volume and activity, and you're starting to bring in more volume into the into your team, I'll have the ability to work with you directly and also give you a weekly development fund based on the volume of your team. And so that's something I'm looking to do a little bit more. You're seeing a lot of the sponsors here, like there's several sponsors that have been talking to me. It's like they've reached out, you know, multiple times to their sponsor and have never gotten a response. And so, you know, some of these guys that have like over 5,000, you know, guys like Tron that's got like 12, 13,000 referrals, he's not responding to people that are on his team, unfortunately. So, you know, I only have 121 referrals right now, so I'm a very small team. So, you know, that's a very advantage to guys if you're looking to work more directly with your sponsor and somebody that's really kind of knowledgeable in the area. I mean, typically with BitConnect, you know, a lot of people will get into BitConnect with guys like Tron or Craig or a few of these other guys that are advertising and promoting a lot on social media. And then, you know, they're not giving any support to their downline. They're not, you know, working with any, you know, the guys on their team. You know, a lot of them even have the stances basically like, don't even talk to me, you know. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but I think, you know, one of the things that, you know, you can do is you have the ability to kind of work with another sponsor. And so that's what I would recommend for you guys is trying to, you know, find someone that you can work with. And that's more of what I'm trying to do here in the space. feel badly for you guys. If you don't know how a Ponzi scheme works, you will soon. And it's great until you're the last guy holding the grenade. Can't listen to any more of it. Good luck. Well, unfortunately, you know, BitConnect is not holding very much Bitcoin because it's actually a community-driven platform. So when you're transacting with people on the platform, you're transacting with other community members. And so, you know, the terminology of using it as a Ponzi scheme is that all of this money is tied up in the system that BitConnect's holding all these assets, and that's just not the case. And so there's a lot of people that are looking at this and they're looking at the daily returns. Typically these are no coiners, so I would imagine that that's hello Ty. Typically these are people that don't really have a very good understanding of cryptocurrency trading, markets, volatility algorithms, whatnot. They're looking at it from an outsider's perspective. They're looking at it from a banking perspective, and they don't understand it. And so they're going to be critical of it, calling it, you know, a Ponzi or whatnot. And yet it really doesn't fit any of those monikers because it's a decentralized platform and you're trading with the community. When you go onto the exchange and you're trading BCC, you're trading Bitcoin, you're trading with other community members. So this is not something that you know, it even falls under the same categories. So it's unfortunate. You're going to have people that are going to continue to kind of see things the way they do it. But you know, BitConnect's had perfect math. I don't know of anyone that's lost money in BitConnect. You know, I'm still waiting to see that. It's the only successful lending platform in cryptocurrency. It's the top performing coin of 2017. It's the you know, it's been the only lending platform where you know, the only coin that you can take a look at in the, you know, in cryptocurrency in general, in the top 100 coins, that is continuously going up. You can't say that about any other coin or any other platform. Tron is more of a personality, and that's why he does well. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, Tron, like I met Tron, I really liked hanging out with him. I spoke with him for hours on end, you know, on a lot of different topics. Same with Craig. I like both those guys. You know, but they're also, they are competitive. So what they're doing is they have a strategy, and they're trying to get as many referrals as possible, and that's their strategy. They're not really offering support to their downline. They're more interested in getting more and more people signed up to the system. And unfortunately right now with BitConnect, that is the name of the game, is to get people signed up in the platform, get them started, get them putting out, you know, a small loan. And if you watch, you know, these guys and their strategies, that's what they're doing. Craig in particular, he's got his BCC school and he's offering, you know, $200 in you know, in BitConnect to you know, to go through the training, to get signed up. But part of that is you're getting them signed up underneath you. So you're getting them started, you're giving them $200 with the hope that, you know, as they get more involved in the platform, they're going to continue to put out loans, and you're going to make that money back and some as they get involved in the platform and as they refer their friends. It's not saying it's a Ponzi because of that, but BitConnect is holding. BitConnect is holding a very large amount of BCC coins and is staking them. So BitConnect isn't necessarily staking coins. You would see a lot of the you know, the top promoters are staking quite a few coins, but you know, the way this is kind of working is like, you know, you may take $10,000 and you may put out a loan, say it's like 50 BCC coins. At the end of that term of those loan, you're transferring back into BCC and you're getting about 25 coins. And so BitConnect is going to take that overhead. They're going to take that overhead of the 25 coins that they have in value, and so that's how they're able to make quite a bit of money on you know, the lending platform, the exchange, with the price rise of their own coin. So that's something to take into consideration. You know, there's multiple ways that BitConnect's able to make money, and you know, through the lending platform, through the you know, the exchanges on you know, the fees that you're seeing for trading on the exchange, even though they're relatively small, they're still you know, those rack up over time. You know, there's just a lot of different ways that BitConnect has been able to make money, and you see them expanding into a lot of different areas. They're going to be opening up retail stores. They're going to be getting into some different markets. They're going to be having their own BCC pay card where you'll be able to pay for things in BitConnect. They're becoming their own marketplace. They have communities that are forming all over the world, offices that are going to be all over the world. It's really a truly a global community and platform that has been one of if not most innovative platform of 2017. And so I'm excited to see, the progress that we're going to see in 2018. Yeah, how come people don't ask how a bank makes money? Good point, Crypto Goose. What are your thoughts then of the videos by the BitConnect YouTube guy? So you're referring to Roy Murphy is what I assume you're talking about. Now, Roy Murphy is just a regular guy. It just happens to have a YouTube page that is labeled BitConnect, and because of that, people think that he is more of an authority on speaking on it. So you're going to see people that are entrusting in him. Now, he has an IT background. He's has a developer background, and he's got some videos that have some great value to him. So I think he's he's good for the space. I just there's people that are that will go to any length to get people signed up into the system, and so you won't really see me doing that. Like, I'm not really trying to trick people into getting into BitConnect. I'm not trying to trick people into putting in loans or that sort of thing and getting people signed up. And I'm trying to come at it from a very honest and authentic place. And something up here in Singapore where I can really teach people more about cryptocurrency, the cryptocurrency space, because there's a lot of misinformation that's out there, and you're seeing some of these people with massive followings that are starting to get into the space, and they're really not as experienced in trading, in volatility software, and in some of the dynamics of BitConnect. If you're gonna come in as a cryptocurrency expert in 2017, and you're not going to talk about the most innovative and top performing coin of 2017, that's that would raise some eyebrows for me right there, And then if you're going to label it a Ponzi or a pyramid scheme and not offer any backing to back up that point, other than these experts that I have over here that say it is, and I'm just going to basically see, I'm just going to match my opinion with theirs. Yeah, I'm loving BCC, but what are your thoughts on the problems cashing out of BTC with the network fees and congestion going on right now? So that's a big thing. There's a lot of problems with Bitcoin in terms of cashing out and some of those transactions holding up in the system, and that was a big thing for me when I first started getting into Bitcoin. And I started trying to send some coins, and then it would hang up in the system. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Like, did I lose my coins? Like, why are there no confirmations? What's going on? And sometimes I've had those transactions hold up for days. And so if you've been trading and moving cryptocurrency around for any length of time, you've experienced this. So that's, I think, another innovation that BitConnect's trying to bring into the platform, where they're going to be bringing in other coins. So if you wanted to transact in, say, Dash or Monero or Litecoin or whatnot, you can trade into those coins and then transact out of the system. And I think that's going to be a huge innovation that we're going to be seeing on the platform. So for those of you that are online, I appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. It helps me get more views on my page. It helps me develop this platform. So hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate your guys' support. Give a man a gun and you'll rob a bank. Give a man a bank, you'll rob the world. Yeah, I like that. Who is your sponsor, Clover? So my sponsor has been Robert and Helen. Well, primarily it's been Robert with the national promoter for Vietnam. And so now that I'm going to be moving out from underneath them, I'm going to be underneath BitConnect. So I will be basically right underneath the system, and I'm going to be working with a few guys that are actually behind the system. There's a couple of guys that that are working with some of the top promoters from the different countries and whatnot. So you're seeing a little bit of a kind of a distribution there where they're wanting to kind of develop the community, they're wanting to develop the platform, and so they're trying to work with top national promoters with the different countries to set some of those things up. So that's kind of where things are going. Too many ums, brother. Yeah, I'm working on that. That's a bad habit of mine. Clover, isn't it practical right now to cash out to, let's say, a BitPay card? So I'm trying to set up Gemini Exchange. Any thoughts on that? So, yeah, I mean, the problem with the BitPay card is that you're cashing out into fiat. So I typically don't put much money on a BitPay card unless it's like, Bitcoin prices are way up and you're wanting to cash out to kind of, hold your value at that price point. But I don't know if that's really going to be the best strategy. I mean, the BitPay card or the BCC card that's coming out is going to be another option. What I've been doing is I've been holding in my Shift card, which holds in Bitcoin, and that's another way of doing it. However, that's associated with Coinbase, and there's going to be some different crackdowns and regulations that are in the pipeline with Coinbase, and so I'm going to be trying to stay away from Coinbase as much as I can. Some of the guys, Glenn, with the national promoter for the U.S., he doesn't even have a Coinbase account, and so part of that is from what some of the things that he's been hearing, some of the numbers that he's working with. He's made tens of millions of dollars in BitConnect, and a lot of that has to do with the volumes of affiliates and referrals that Tron and Craig have brought underneath him, and a few of the other top promoters or the regional promoters that he's bringing underneath him. So he's brought a lot of volume into the system, and so he's finding different ways to stay off the radar. But that's something that's going to be it's going to be an interesting trend moving forward. There's going to be some regulations, and regulators are going to be trying to crack down on people, and so I think that that's going to be something to be very cautious of moving forward, is trying to stay away from some of those platforms where you're seeing some of the regulators are moving into. So Coinbase is going to be one. Gemini is probably going to be next in line. You're going to have a few other exchanges that you're going to be wanting to be wary of. I think some of the international exchanges are going to be some of the best ways to do that. And so I think with what I'm doing here in Singapore, I'm going to be really looking to bring some value to some of the people that are working with me. So if you're looking to kind of stay off of the radar and you want to get into some of these Asian exchanges, I think this is going to be the way to go right now. Is that's going to be one that the U.S. is not regulating Korean exchanges or exchanges in Hong Kong and whatnot. So I think that there's a lot of advantages to that. So I'm going to be doing some different things to try to bring you guys some more value. Yeah, I'm in BCC for the cash flow aspect. I'm holding crypto long term, but I need a way to cash out regularly. Local Bitcoins is going to be, probably the best one, because that is not touching the banks. So finding a reputable buyer and seller on local Bitcoins, developing relationships, starting small, and maybe just doing like $1,000 at first, and moving up to like 10,000. Depending on kind of the funds that you're working with or wanting to transact in. Yeah, Glenn was under Craig, and then Craig, it was essentially between me and Glenn for the U.S. national promoter position, and unfortunately they gave it to Glenn. Glenn became the U.S. national promoter, and once he was given that position, he went and contacted Craig about having Craig come underneath him as a regional promoter, giving him a regional promoter position, And that's how that kind of went. So they kind of flip-flopped. And then once you got Craig underneath him, Craig had one of the biggest trees in BitConnect, because he was one of the first guys in the U.S. market to start promoting BitConnect. He was promoting BitConnect back in early April. And one of the biggest guys that he got in is Tron James, who is currently now the #1 affiliate with BitConnect. So getting those two guys underneath him as regionals was huge for him. And so he's doing a tremendous amount of volume now based on those guys' activity. What about Payza? Have you used the Payza card? Let me take a look at that. Thanks for that, Tracy. I think I'd heard about it. I think it might, I don't think this was one that was available in the US. I think maybe last time I checked, or maybe it was. But I think a lot of these cryptocurrency cards, they're not necessarily cryptocurrency cards. What they are is they are ones where you can cash out, so you can send money to the exchange, and you can kind of cash out into USD. What's going on, Trevon? Yeah, you are the #1 affiliate with BitConnect. Confirmed. But yeah, the Payza card, I'll have to take a look into that. I'll look into that later and see if that's going to be one that's being worth it. I remember seeing this, so just take a look so I can show you guys. The Payza card. So this is one I'm going to be taking a look at. I'll give you guys a little bit of an update. See if that's worth getting into. Yeah, go to Korea, set up accounts, and then buy and send straight to your Korean wallet. That's a big one. I'm gonna be looking at when I go to Korea here in the near future. I'm gonna be looking to set up a banking account and basically looking at ways to send wire transfers to a U.S. bank or something that's transacting in USD, turning around and then buying Bitcoin. Because let's take a look at that. Because if we take a look at the market right now, taking a look at Bitcoin, prices are about 14,000, but typically the Korean markets are a little bit higher. So we're seeing prices a little bit higher, and those exchanges are much higher. Take a look at this. So right now, if you're in Corbit, or you're in Coin One, or you're in some of these different Korean exchanges, BitThumb, it's currently trading at about $17,000 to $18,000. Whereas, the price right now overall is on average about 14,000. So there's a huge arbitrage opportunity there. It always has been for a long, long time. And so that's one thing I'm going to be looking to do with guys that are working with me and working with my team. I've also been contacted, quite a bit with the Indian team, and they are wanting to do kind of large transactions, for some different purposes and things like that. So setting up some international banking services, and I think there's going to be some definite advantages to transacting here in Singapore. So I'm going to be looking to set some of those things up. Are you planning to buy and set up a trading bot? Yeah, so I was developing trading bots in California with Hozbot software. There's also Gunbot is another one. But one of the things I'm looking to do is actually set up my own trading algorithms and trading bot software. And so part of that's going to be working with some developers that can kind of work with that technology. So one of the problems I was having with Hozbot is typically it would kind of kick me off of the server quite a bit when I was working with some of these different exchanges. So the API was kind of a little bit buggy, and that's where I'm going to need some developer help to really make sure that those connections are solid, and that these are able to transact on a 24-hour basis without having any hangups. Why don't you allow us to use your business address to get BCC card, and then you mail it to us here in the US for a fee? That would be a nice option. Yeah. I'm going to be looking into doing some different things. I'm probably only going to be doing that with people that are on my team, people that are that I'm kind of working with. I'm not really going to be looking to do that on a wide scale. I might be under some heat from the U.S. government if I'm trying to do something like that. You know, I'm not trying to wind up in jail, but I think that there's some different things that I can do. Maybe I can provide some addresses and some different things to help, you know, people that are working with me to set up some accounts somewhere and set up a, because there's some different regulations. I mean, there's certain exchanges and cards that don't even want people to, they don't even want to touch the U.S. market. So they're setting up these accounts, and you can get these cards and whatnot, setting up exchange accounts. But if you have a U.S. address and you're transacting from the U.S., it's not set up really in the best way right now. Clover, you could load balance the transactions via multiple APIs. Use the API to buy and one to sell. Yeah, and I think, you know, that was part of the issue. Is like when we started kind of really loading up our server with trading bots, the more and more that we did that, I think that we were having some issues with the connectivity. And you know, we're also in the U.S. and some of these ISPs are notorious about throttling traffic and you know, kind of monitoring network activity, whereas you don't necessarily have that the same way here in Asian countries. So that's a definite advantage to setting up here. So I'm looking to learn more about that, and part of that's going to be working with some IT guys that are a little bit better at this than me. See you. Clover, if I come to Singapore, can I come visit you at your office? I like to work together on a few things. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be looking to set up some different things for people. You know, I'm not sure if you're on my team or you're working with me. I mean, that's gonna be something I think I'm gonna be working with guys that are you know, trying to build networks and things like that. Otherwise, I'm gonna be setting up meeting groups and things like that for kind of the general public. So I'm going to be doing that here pretty soon. I'm going to be setting up a meetup group in Singapore and meeting up on a pretty regular basis and trying to you know, build some networks with crypto folks here in Singapore. Software engineer for 20 years. Holler if you want some help. Alrighty. Reading a few of these comments. I'm probably going to stay on here for another several minutes. These live streams have been going a little bit longer than I'm typically used to. Been trying to keep these at about, you know, 30-40 minutes, but if you guys have a few more questions, I'll try to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to get cracking on a few different things here, trying to set some things up for you guys. What did you do before crypto? I was an electricity trader, so I kind of had a little bit of a background with this kind of 24-hour 365 market. I was trading electricity for a company called the Energy Authority in Bellevue, Washington, just right outside of Seattle. We were a satellite office of the headquarters in Jacksonville, and it's currently the largest electricity trading platform in North America. I was working with another guy there, and we were working with some development teams in that office to develop some of the platforms and newer software that we were deploying on the system. So I was actually in charge of putting the new computers on. I was working with the IT teams to build some of the newer computers that we were going to be using for the trading office. And so I had a little bit of background in that, and I was working with this other guy who was really smart, kind of techie guy, and he was doing more of the back office work, and we were setting up a lot of the different things that needed to be ready to go for the real-time traders. So we have shifts of traders that were coming on for 12-hour shifts. And so you'd have, for every one trader that was trading on a 12-hour shift, you need 5 traders, and they would rotate their shifts. So you would come on, for a different time period. And I was responsible for getting a lot of the schedules and the day ahead trading activity ready for those guys. So we were trading on a little bit of a day ahead. So the day ahead, we were kind of looking at the market. We were kind of trading on some of that activity and setting up some of the volumes and whatnot for how we anticipated the market was going to go. So we had analytic teams that were trying to basically figure out where we thought the market was going to be for those days. We had term traders that were trading on a monthly or yearly basis kind of into the future. So we had these long-term contracts and deals, and we needed to fill those deals with transactions from our different power suppliers, which were all public utilities up and down the Columbia River, kind of different parts on the West Coast. But the Columbia River dams, it was all federally managed project. You can't have a bunch of marketers, managing the dams on there, or else it would just go crazy. You need to have some consistency there, otherwise it just wouldn't work. So it's federally managed, but because it's federally managed, they can't turn a profit. So they have the entire thing managed by the public utilities, and then the public utilities can't manage it all that efficiently, and so they turn to a nonprofit trading organization like the one I was associated with. And so we had started out small. We only had 3 utilities when I started in, what was that? It was like 2010, I think is when I started. And then we by the time I left, I think there was about 14 or 15 different public utility partners, and we had been trading for all over the West Coast, trading up into Canada, primarily trading down into Canada or into California. So it was an interesting experience, but there's some office politics. There's some things that were kind of going on there. It wasn't paying all that well in comparison to the rest of the market. I mean, I was only making like 50 or 60,000 a year. Well, it was probably more about 60 or 70,000. They had a bonus incentive in March, so based on the previous year's activity. But you have to stay around until then to get your bonus, and then it's just kind of the way it was working. So once cryptocurrency kind of came on the scene and really kind of exploded in 2013, there was just a lot more opportunity there, and I just became obsessed with it, and to the point where I just had to get out. And then I just started getting into crypto. I started trading pretty heavily. The market kind of dipped down a little bit, and I was doing some property management to kind of as a kind of a hedge, or I was kind of using that to kind of pay my bills and whatnot. But yeah, I've been trading cryptocurrency since 2013. Clover, love that video where you were in the Philippines. Amazing view, inspired me. Yeah, there's some cool spots in Asia. I'll tell you that much. You come out here, and I know most of the good spots in the U.S. I've traveled to about 40 of the 50 different states, and I've traveled. I like traveling. I like kind of going and checking out some different spots. And so there was some different areas to kind of check out. But yeah, there's some beautiful places in the Philippines and in Indonesia. Traveling out to some of the different islands in Indonesia, that was really cool. Haven't had a chance really to check out as much in Vietnam. I was kind of more in the city there, but yeah, there's a lot of beautiful places around. Yeah, I didn't discuss Cardano, but ADA is a good coin to get into. It was number 6 here just recently. What is it at right now? It's still at number 6. It's been down quite a bit, about 7 or 8%. Let's take a look at the market. I'll show you this, guys. Here, Cardano, one that really kind of recently just came on the scene and has been doing pretty well. So down 7%. This is a good one to probably look at. Is really volumes have really just kind of come up. It was kind of came out of nowhere. It just came on the scene in October. Was kind of holding pretty steady, and then boom, really started to take off. think part of that was the trading you were seeing on Binance and Bittrex. So that's where you're seeing a little bit more market distribution in these coins. It's trading pretty heavily in Korea as well with CoinNest. So this is a good one. I think this is a good one to get into. I think it's a good buying price right now. Really saw you know, huge market, you know, explosion here. You know, the one thing I would be wary of, and I'll show you this, guys, is the volume has kind of tapered off. So we saw kind of a spike here on November 29th, and you saw prices and the market cap really come up. It was kind of holding, kind of moving in a sideways market, and then we saw volumes really kind of increase again, and you know, saw another spike in price. But taking a look here at the last 7 days, you can see that volumes have really kind of tapered off, and you're seeing the coin's value is kind of decreasing a little bit. And so that's a little bit of a red flag, I would say. May want to be careful, but I would keep an eye on this one. May not be one to get into just yet. Maybe it'll come down a little bit. Maybe we'll see it below 32 cents, and or even come down a little bit more before we see a little bit more of a bounce. But I think what we're going to be seeing is this is going to be an opportunity to get into this coin when volumes start to return. Buy the dips, sell the rips. All right, guys, I think I'm going to be getting off here. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate it hitting the thumbs up button when the video comes on. If you guys want to comment and leave some different comments on there, that helps me get a little bit more page views, and helps me develop this platform and page. So appreciate you guys' support. Appreciate you guys staying online as long as you did. So like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.